All right, that was 50 ounces of cream of mushroom. Next thing we're gonna add is 2 pounds of stew meat in our crock pot. Make sure you take out those little papers. This is gonna be a super easy and delicious 4-ingredient dinner. I'm gonna add our brown gravy. I'm using the 30% less sodium, but you can use the regular kind if you prefer. This gravy is so delicious, but you can make your own. You can make your own cream of mushroom. That is the best part of this dinner. It is customizable. And I'm gonna actually do 2 packets of that brown gravy because I want extra gravy with my steak bites. Beautiful. Now for more seasoning, I'm gonna add 1 packet of my beefy onion soup mix. Now if you can't find the beefy onion, you can use the regular onion soup mix, but I think the beefy goes beautiful with our beef tips and cream of mushroom and all of that goodness. And you could add some fresh mushrooms, you could add some fresh onions to this if that's what you prefer, but I'm gonna keep this super simple. Now that is 4 ingredients, but we're gonna add some water too. We are going to add 4 cups of water. And that's gonna help the gravy become gravy and give us a delicious coating for our steak bits. Now it is time to mix everything together. The cream of mushroom, the chuck roast steak bits, the gravy packets, and that beefy onion soup. Oh my goodness, this smells good already. It's so potent, it's so delicious. Now you could do this with whatever cut of meat you like. I just use the chuck roast because this is gonna be cooking for a while, so it doesn't really matter what kind of meat you use. It's all gonna come out tender and juicy. All right, that looks like it's mixed well enough. We can give it another mix halfway if we need to, but we're gonna go ahead and put our lid on and we're gonna pop this on low because this is gonna cook slow and low. All right, it's been 8 hours on low. We're gonna go ahead and pop this off. You can cook it for 5 hours on high if you prefer, but before we dig in, I'm gonna bring in my Bob Evans mashed potatoes, and I'm gonna get a scoop of mashed potatoes on my plate to go with that delicious meat and gravy. That looks like enough, right?
Yeah, it looks good. I want to see what's in this crock pot.
All right, well, now that we have our side ready, let's check it out. Woo!
Oh, it thickened up.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that looks perfect. Slow cooked steak and gravy. All right, it's time to dig in. And then we're just gonna serve this right on top of your mashed potatoes. You could add some cornstarch to thicken it up, but I'm pretty happy with that, how it is. It's not too thin, not too thick, perfect medium. All right, it's time to dig in. Get that meat and the mashed potatoes. It's a perfect bite. That meat just fell apart in my mouth. Wow, that is so good, you guys. Tender, juicy, delicious. You have to try it. With our Fritos, I'm gonna add 1 pound of cooked ground beef, and I did season this with some taco seasoning. It's gonna be a super easy, super delicious crock pot dinner. Let's make sure you get all of that meat on there. Oh my goodness, this smells amazing already. We're gonna use our spoon and make sure that ground beef is spread right on top of our delicious Fritos. Beautiful. Next, I'm coming in with 1 whole onion that I diced, and I used yellow onion, but you can use a white onion, a purple onion, whatever onion flavor you like. Oh, I absolutely love onions, and it goes so well with this dish. Next thing we're adding into our crock pot is our traditional refried beans. Now you can make homemade refried beans if that is your personal preference, but I wanted this to be super easy. Hopefully it will give you inspiration to make it your own. So we are gonna add a generous amount of this refried beans, probably the whole can, which is 16 ounces. And I'm just doing scoops because these beans aren't heated up yet, so they're not easy to spread, but as we turn the crock pot on, they will heat up and kind of spread and cover up those onions and the ground beef way better than what it looks like now. So let's get that whole thing right in there. All right, that was that whole can. To add some moisture, we're gonna add 1 can of our El Paso red enchilada sauce, and this is the 1 pound and 3 ounces. And we're gonna drizzle that whole thing on top of our beans, our onions, our beef, and those Fritos. You can make a homemade enchilada sauce. You could do a green enchilada sauce. You can make this your own. Like I always say, it's so easy to customize this and make it exactly how you like. Now, of course, we have to add some cheese. So I'm gonna add this whole bag of Mexican style blend cheese, which is 16 ounces of cheese. We're gonna put that right on top. You could obviously add more cheese or do whatever cheese you like, but you know, I don't want it to be too cheesy because I know some of you do not like cheese as much as I do. Now for an added crunch, I have 1 more bag of Fritos, 2 bags total. This second layer is totally optional, but I just think it adds such a great extra layer of crunch that is so necessary for this easy and delicious dinner. So we added that whole second bag and we're gonna spread it out, and now this is ready to cook. I'm gonna go ahead and put my lid on, and we're gonna pop this on high, which it already is, and it's gonna cook up super quick. All right, you guys, it's been an hour and a half on high. Now, if you wanted to do this on low, you would cook it for about 3 to 4 hours, but let's check this out. Ooh, smell all that goodness, and those Fritos are still nice and crunchy on the top. Let's go ahead and serve this up. It smells incredible. Oh, yeah. This is gonna be delicious. Would you look at that? Frito pie in the crock pot, extra Fritos, extra delicious. Now, before we dig in, I'll put this to the side. I'm gonna dress this up a little bit. A little bit of light sour cream. Beautiful. This is optional, but some cilantro. Beautiful. So easy, so delicious. Let's give it a try. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is incredible, you guys. You have to try it. All right, we're starting off with 2 bags of our baby Dutch potatoes in our crock pot. Next, I'm coming in with my beef smoked sausage, and I already diced up all of that sausage. I'm gonna bring in a second one because I want this to be extra meaty. This is a super easy and delicious 1-pot meal in your crock pot. I have here a diced yellow onion, and we're gonna put that whole onion into our crock pot with those potatoes and those sausage. This is so easy, so delicious. Your kids will love it. Your grandparents will love it. Everyone loves this dinner. Now I have one of those large cans of the diced tomatoes, and we're gonna put that right in there with the juices. Those juices just make everything more flavorful and tasty. Make sure to get all of that out. Those tomatoes smell really delicious. Next thing we're gonna add is a little bit of sea salt. Now, if you're worried about your sodium, you can skip adding the extra salt, but for me, I need to have salt with my potatoes, so I am adding a nice little sprinkle of our salt. Now, this wouldn't be a Justine Cameron meal without some garlic, and I'm using the minced garlic. You could use garlic powder, garlic salt, fresh garlic, whatever you like, but I'm just gonna add a couple tablespoons of garlic because that's really what's gonna bring that flavor. So good. Now the last seasoning I'm gonna add is some Italian seasoning, and I love using the Italian seasoning because it has everything you need all in one, and it tastes delicious. I love this perfect pinch one specifically. And we're just gonna give this a nice generous seasoning. It's a lot of potatoes, a lot of pieces of sausage, so we gotta make sure we season it accordingly. Now, last thing we're gonna add to our crock pot before we give it a mix is 1 can of chicken broth. Now, you can do beef broth with the beef sausages, but I personally like chicken broth with this, so that's why I went for it. And we just need the 1 can just to add some good moisture to our meal. Ooh, all right, it is time to give this a mix. We're gonna use our spatula and just make sure everything gets coated in the seasoning, in the garlic, in the salt. All right, that looks beautifully mixed. Now we're gonna go ahead and put our lid on and get this cooking. I'm putting mine on high. All right, it's been 4 hours on high. We're gonna go ahead and turn this off and let's check this out.
Wow.
Look at that. Looks so good. The potatoes, the sausage, tomatoes, onions, everything you want. And this is great for meal prep. You can store it in the fridge for 5 to 7 days. But first we gotta give this a try. I'm gonna give it a little mix. Oh my goodness. Doesn't it look so good?
Yeah, it looks perfectly cooked too. Nice.
All right, and I got my little bowl plate. We're gonna get a nice serve in, get a couple more potatoes, and that is ready to dig in. Let's check on those potatoes. Ooh, perfectly cooked. I love when you can just use your fork to tear them up. Look, you guys,
Just falling
beautiful. Wow, that is so good. The sausage and potatoes with tomatoes and onions, they just go perfectly together. You guys are really gonna like this one. Try it out. All right, we're starting off with 2 bags of our broccoli florets. Next, I'm coming in with 1 bag of my cauliflower florets. This is gonna be a super easy and super delicious crock pot recipe. I'm next gonna add 1 bag of my petite carrots. We're making a vegetarian dinner today because that's what I was craving. We're gonna season this super quick with salt and pepper. You could add some additional seasonings if you prefer, but I'm keeping it super simple today. And that's a lot of veggies, so we gotta add a lot of seasoning. Beautiful. Next thing we're gonna add is 2 cans of our cheddar condensed soup. And we're gonna put those whole cans in there right on top of our delicious veggies. This is the best way to get your kids and your family to eat veggies because cheese makes everything better, right, babe?
Oh my gosh, I love this type of cheese too.
Yeah, and if you're worried about like the contents of the cheese soup, you can do a homemade cheese soup, and I think that would taste incredible. If you have one that you like, please share it in the comments. I would love to try it out. But let's really make sure we get those cans nice and empty because we want all of that cheesy goodness. Perfect. Now, if you thought that was enough cheese, you were wrong. We're gonna add 1 bag of our mild cheddar. Now, you can substitute this for whatever cheese you like, a Colby Jack, a pepper jack, a mozzarella, but I think all the cheddars are gonna go so beautifully with this dish. Last thing we're gonna add is some vegetable broth, and we're gonna add 1 cup. So we're not gonna use this whole can. We're gonna use about 3/4 of that. All right, and it is time to give this a good mix. Now, I know you guys are probably gonna tell me you should use the whole can of the vegetable broth, but the crock pot creates a lot of moisture, and I don't wanna add too much broth and then this turn into a soup, because this is not a soup. This is gonna be some delicious, cheesy veggies. So we gotta make sure that those veggies get coated in the cheddar soup and in those cheddar shreds. All right, let's get this mixed. All right, that looks great. We will give it another mix when it's fully cooked, but let's go ahead and put our lid on and pop this on high. So excited. All right, it's been 2 hours on high. We're gonna pop this off, and I did mix it halfway at the 1 hour mark. Let's go ahead and check it out. It's important to mix it halfway to make sure that your broccoli and cheese doesn't get burnt, but look how delicious that looks. Oh my goodness. We have our creamy, cheesy veggies. Woo! It's time to serve this up. That broccoli looks perfectly cooked. So does the carrots and the cauliflower.
Smells delicious.
Oh, look at that cheese sauce on there.
I know,
Looks so good. Okay, grab one of these. Let's start with the broccoli because that's my favorite. All right, it's gonna be really hot, so be careful. Wow. All right, that was my 1.5 pounds of beef strips in my crock pot. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands. Now I'm bringing in my onion strips and we're gonna put that right in there. This is about 1 onion sliced. I have 2 green bell peppers that I cut into slivers right in there with our onions and our beef. And then 2 red bell peppers that I slivered, all in our crock pot. All right, and I'm gonna move this slightly to the side and bring in my large measuring cup and my whisk. And we're gonna start off with some beef broth right in there. We are going to add 3 cups of beef broth right into our measuring cup. We're gonna make a quick sauce to go with those peppers and those onions and that steak. This is gonna be such an easy and delicious kind of classic steak dish. That looks good enough. The next thing we're gonna add to our broth is some soy sauce. I am using the less sodium, and we want about 1/4 cup in there. So let's just pour until we get that up to that 1/4. And I know that might seem like a lot, but that's why we did the less sodium, so that it's not too salty. And we also did the lesser sodium broth, so this is gonna be really, really tasty. I have here some light brown sugar that we're gonna add into this, and we're just gonna make sure to not splash that around, but we are gonna add a decent amount of light brown sugar into there to add some sweetness to combat that saltiness. Beautiful. Next thing I'm gonna add is my minced ginger, and we are going to just eyeball this as well. I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of ginger in there. And then I'm gonna add some black pepper. And I like to do this all in a measuring cup and mix it together before we drizzle it on our crock pot, just so that everything can get evenly distributed. And we're doing some garlic powder in there. You guys know I cannot do a dinner without some garlic powder. And it may seem like a lot, but that is a big crock pot filled with all those goodness. So we have to make sure to get a lot of flavor. Last thing we're gonna add to this is a little bit of cornstarch, which will help thicken everything up. And I'm just gonna add like a spoonful, it's about a tablespoon right in there. And it is time to whisk this together. So we have our soy sauce, our broth, our brown sugar, our ginger, our seasonings. Oh my goodness, this is starting to smell so delicious. It came together so quickly, and I really think that you guys are going to love these flavors once they all get melded together and start cooking up in the crock pot. But I think that that is mixed pretty well. So let's go ahead and bring back our crock pot over, and let's drizzle this entire mixture right on top. Oh, look at all that ginger. Oh, perfect. Well, the last thing we're gonna add is some sesame seeds. I just feel like it complements all those flavors that we have in there. So I'm gonna do a nice little sprinkle, and then we're gonna give this a toss to make sure that everything is kind of in their places in the crock pot. All right, I'm just gonna grab my tongs, and we're just gonna toss everything, get some of that steak on the top, get some of those peppers on the bottom. Oh my goodness, this is gonna cook up so beautifully, and it's gonna taste amazing. I can already smell all those yummy flavors melding together. Yes, you can smell things without it starting to cook. That is a thing. When you open up your soy sauce bottle, you can smell the soy sauce. So that's what I'm talking about when I say it smells so good. So let's just keep getting this a mix until we feel like we're happy with the distribution. All right, and that is ready. And we are gonna pop this one on low so that it can be ready for dinner time. All right, it's been 6 hours on low. Let's turn this off and check it out. Oh my goodness, our pepper steak in the crock pot is perfectly done. Those onions are perfectly done, the bell peppers, and it smells incredible. My whole house smells so good. All right, it is time to serve this up. Oh, you could serve this over some rice or noodles, over some mashed potatoes. That looks incredible. Oh my goodness.
Smells delicious.
Oh yeah, and look, it's like just falling apart too because it's so tender. All right. Wow. Wow. That is so good. It's seasoned perfectly. It's tender. Those bell peppers are sweet. You guys are really gonna like this. All right, I'm coming in with some cooked Italian sausage, and we're just putting half a pound of our cooked sausage on top of our marinara and our spaghetti noodles. Okay, make sure it's fully cooked when you put it in your crock pot, because it will not be in here long enough to cook it, and plus we want to make sure we don't have that grease in there. So let's go ahead and spread that out the best we can. This is gonna be so easy and so delicious. I'm coming in with some Italian seasoning, and we are just gonna sprinkle that right on top of this entire crock pot. Oh yeah, now you can use whatever seasoning you like. You can use some garlic powder, some salt, some pepper, but I'm gonna keep this really easy and simple for you guys and stick with just the Italian seasoning. Now I'm gonna come in with my cream cheese. I'm using the whipped, but a softened cream cheese will work just as well. I just didn't have time to soften it, and I did ask my husband to open this, but I guess he didn't, so we're blaming him for that.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to open that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and put half of this container right on top of our sausage. Okay, that looks like about half. We're gonna use our spatula and kind of just spread that out. It doesn't need to be perfect because as this heats up, it will kind of melt and spread on its own, but we just don't want too big of chunks here. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be such an easy and delicious dinner. So quick in the crock pot and so yummy. Okay, that looks about good. It's in the center and it'll spread to the edges once it cooks. Now I'm coming in with sour cream. Let's see if my husband opened up this one. Yeah! All right, and we're gonna do half of our sour cream. So we're gonna do 1 cup right on there. Maybe a little less than 1 cup. Just kind of eyeball it to your liking, and we're gonna do the same thing we did with the cream cheese, but with the sour cream. And if it blends in with that meat, even better. It's gonna be so tasty, so creamy, and so delicious. Oh my goodness. Okay, that looks about right. Now we're coming back in with our Prego marinara. I'm using the roasted garlic parmesan marinara, and I used half the jar, and now I'm gonna use the rest right on top of those creaminess. Oh yeah, delicious. Oh yeah. All right, and we're bringing in the other half of our box of spaghetti.
Oh no, here we go.
And we are gonna break it and then just spread it right on there. Okay. We have to break the spaghetti because it won't cook and lay nicely when it's full. Now I'm gonna bring in the rest of my cooked sausage, and we are just gonna use up the rest of our ingredients so we can have the most delicious spaghetti in the crock pot. Oh my goodness. I saw this recipe on Pinterest and I knew I had to try it for you guys. You guys are gonna have to let me know if you try it out and how you like it, but I think this is gonna be a winner. All right, we're coming back in with the rest of our whipped cream cheese. Let's go ahead and spread that around. I know it's getting a little messy and kind of weird looking, but trust me, this is gonna be good. All right, bring in some more of that sour cream. And I'm not gonna use this full container, I decided, because I think it's a little too much sour cream. I forgot to put more Italian seasoning, so we're gonna have to put it on top of the creamies. You guys can tell I haven't made this recipe before, huh? Okay, so get that from edge to edge, just like we did the last layer. Beautiful. All right, so I did fill up my marinara jar with 1.5 cups of water, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that lid on and give it a nice little shake so we can get the rest of that sauce out. And then we're gonna pour that water into our crock pot. You need 1.5 cups of water in order to cook that pasta.
It's like pasta juice.
Yeah, it's okay. I know it looks crazy right now, but trust me, it's gonna be delicious. I really have a good feeling about this recipe. We're gonna go ahead and put our lid on, and we are gonna pop this on high. All right, you guys, so it has been 1.5 hours. Ooh, look how good that looks. It's not done yet. We are gonna grab some mozzarella cheese, and we are gonna do a nice layer of mozzarella right on top. Oh my goodness.
Yo, it smells amazing.
It smells so good, you guys. Okay, we are gonna do a nice thick layer, just like so. Ooh, I am so excited. Okay, and we're gonna pop this on low, put the lid back on, and then once that cheese is melted, it is ready to eat. All right, you guys, let's turn the crock pot off and let's get digging in. That cheese melted super quick, you guys. We're gonna add a little bit of fresh parsley on top for some color and flavor. Oh my goodness, this smells incredible. Okay, it is time to check out that pasta. Nice little twist. Oh yeah. Whew.
Look at that.
Perfectly cooked.
Let me get a close in on that.
Extra cheese. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh my goodness. Oh, the pasta is perfect. See, it's like an al dente. I love it. That is even better than I expected, you guys. Oh my gosh. If I had to say anything, I would probably double the meat, but it's cooked perfectly and it's delicious. All right, we're starting off with 2 jars of our Alfredo sauce in our crock pot. Next, I'm gonna add 3 large chicken breasts right into our sauce. It's gonna be super easy and delicious crock pot dinner with a healthy twist. I have 1 cup of freshly shredded mozzarella that we're gonna put right in there with our Alfredo sauce and our chicken. You can use whatever cheese you like, a white cheddar, a Swiss, whatever you like. I love mozzarella. Next, we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of garlic. I'm using garlic, but you could obviously use fresh. I just think that the taste comes a little bit more through with the garlic because it's been marinating in its own juices. All right, that looks absolutely perfect. Now, before we get this cooking, we are gonna season this up. I have my Perfect Pinch Italian seasoning. This is my favorite Italian seasoning, but you can season this however you like. All of my recipes are super customizable. I am gonna season this heavily though, because those chicken breasts are pretty large and we wanna make sure that we have enough flavor going on in our dinner. Now, of course, we're gonna do some garlic powder. I know I always add too much garlic, but I love it. You guys can skip it. Perfect. And garlic powder's best friend, onion powder. This already smells so good. All I smell is garlic and cheese. Delicious. Last but not least, we're gonna do some black pepper. And we are just gonna do a good amount of black pepper. I love black pepper, so I like to go heavy-handed on there. All right, and this is ready to start cooking. I'm gonna put my lid on and we're gonna pop this on high so dinner can be ready quick. All right, it's been 3 hours on high and we're actually gonna keep it on high, but let's go ahead and check this out. Oh my goodness, my whole house smells so delicious. All right, before we continue on, I'm gonna grab my electric hand mixer and we're gonna use this to shred our chicken. So we're just gonna go right into it. And look at that. Shred your chicken so quick. All right, look at that. All of our chicken is perfectly shredded. We only made a little mess, but this is ready for our last ingredient. So normally you would add a pasta to this, but we're gonna keep it a little healthy and we're gonna add 2 bags of our frozen broccoli. Alfredo and broccoli go so well together. So this is gonna be such a delicious dinner. Low carb, tasty, even your kids will eat this. So I'm giving this a good mix. And remember, we kept our heat on, but this is gonna only need to be in there for about 30 more minutes, which is why we add the broccoli in at this point. So let's go ahead and put our lid back on and let that broccoli cook. All right, you guys, that 30 minutes is up. We're gonna go ahead and turn this off and let's check it out. Woo! It's so good. I do want to know, if you want a thicker sauce, use fresh broccoli instead of frozen, but look how delicious this looks. Proteins, veggie, deliciousness. This is a great dinner. Serve it with some garlic bread if you do want some carbs, but I'm gonna keep it low carb. Looks so good. That chicken is cooked perfectly. The broccoli is cooked perfectly. Cannot wait to eat this. All right, 2 pounds of our cooked shredded chicken. Next, I'm coming in with my Buffalo Wild Wings buffalo sauce. This is the medium. And we're gonna use this whole entire jar of buffalo sauce. This is gonna be a super easy and delicious dinner in our crock pot. Now I'm gonna grab my whole milk and I'm gonna fill up my buffalo sauce about halfway so we can get all that extra sauce out of our bottle. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that lid back on and give it a good shake. Well, see how it's like coming off of the sides of the bottle? That's exactly what we want. And we're gonna pour that right into our crock pot with our sauce and our chicken. Yummy. Next, I'm coming in with 1 block of cream cheese. I'm gonna place that right there. I have some Daisy sour cream, and we're gonna add 8 ounces of sour cream. It's gonna cut that heat from the buffalo sauce, and it's gonna add some delicious creaminess. All right, that looks like about 8 ounces. You can measure if you'd like. Now, this is optional, but I think it's gonna get this taste incredible. Buffalo ranch, yeah, you heard that right. I know we just wanted to cut the heat, but now we're bringing it back, and we're gonna do a nice little drizzle of our buffalo ranch right on top of all that goodness. I think I did about 1/4 of this container.
Smells delicious.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so good. Now I have here my Tillamook extra sharp white cheddar, and I did cut this up, so we're gonna go ahead and get all of those pieces out the best of our ability. Perfect. So that was 8 ounces of our white cheddar cut. Next, I'm coming in with 8 ounces of my medium cheddar that we also cut up. And we're just gonna make sure all that gets right into our crock pot. Extra cheesy, pleasy. You can use whatever cheese you prefer. Perfect. All right, now it's not a Justine recipe without some garlic, so we are gonna add some garlic. You can skip this. I just love garlic in everything, so we're gonna add a few tablespoons of garlic right in there, and you could also swap it for some fresh garlic. It's totally your call. It is time to season this, and if you couldn't guess it, it's ranch seasoning time. Oh yeah. And we use this whole packet of ranch seasoning. This is a good hearty serving. This could feed, you know, about 8 to 10 people. It's super yummy, super delicious. You could serve it with a side salad to make it a complete dinner, and it is gonna be incredible. So go ahead and put that whole packet of seasoning right in there. Doesn't that look incredible?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to try this.
But we're not done seasoning this yet. I have some garlic powder. I am a garlic crazy girl, but it just goes so well with chicken. It goes so well with buffalo. It goes so well with cheese. This is gonna be a winner. Now we're gonna finish this off with a little bit of freshly ground pepper. I'm gonna go a few rounds in our crock pot with that pepper. Beautiful. Now this one's gonna be optional, and I know you guys are gonna come at me, but it needs a little bit of salt, so I'm gonna add some salt.
Every dish needs a little bit of salt.
And a lot of love. Beautiful. All right, you guys, this is ready to start cooking. Go ahead and put your lid on, and we're gonna pop this on high until that cheese is nice and melted. All right, you guys, it's been 1 hour on high. This cheese looks nice and bubbling. Let's check it out.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, it smells incredible. I'm gonna go in with my pasta spoon, and we're gonna mix everything together. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Looks so creamy, so cheesy, and the perfect amount of buffalo. Now this is a buffalo mac and cheese, so the only thing we're missing is the macaroni. But I'm using my favorite pasta shape, and you can use your favorite, and we're gonna put that whole box, 16 ounces of pasta into our crock pot, and it's time to finish this off with one more hearty mix. All right, let's give this a try. Get a good hearty scoop.
Look at that.
Oh, buffalo mac and cheese. Yummy, you guys. Talk about chicken dinner winner, whatever that saying is.
Is it good?
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's the perfect amount of buffalo, not burning my mouth. It's so good, you guys. You have to try it. All right, that was my frozen corn on the cob in my crock pot. Next, I'm coming in with my 10 mini pork chops. And I'll put that right on top of our corn. Go ahead and flip those over and get them just spread out as best as we can. This is a super easy all-in-one crock pot dinner. All right, that looks perfect. Now I'm gonna go ahead and season this with some salt and pepper. So super quick season. Perfect. I have here some frozen chopped onions. You can use fresh, it won't make a difference. And we're gonna kind of just get that around the edges of our delicious pork chops. All right, I used about 3/4 of that bag. Now I'm gonna bring in my partially cooked bacon slices. I have 6 slices, and that's gonna go right on top of those onions and those pork chops. This is gonna add some great flavor. It's gonna cook nice in there, and that grease is gonna go onto those onions, to that corn, to those pork chops, and add the most delicious flavor. Now I have a couple mini potatoes that I'm just gonna kind of throw around on the sides of our crock pots. These are optional, but I just love a little potato with my corn and my pork, so that's why I decided to add a few of them. And these will cook up super quick because they're so tiny. So let's just get like a border of those potatoes in our crock pot. Yum. Absolutely delicious. Now to tie everything together, I have a family size cream of mushroom, and this is gonna go on top of our bacon and our pork chops, our onions. Might get a little bit on those potatoes. Oh yeah, I love cream of mushroom, but if you don't like the soup, the Campbell's condensed soup, you could obviously make your own. I think it's relatively easy, but I wanted this to be super quick so I can just throw it all together and get this cooking so that we can have dinner ready on time. So let's get all of that family size can out, and we're gonna just kind of spread that on top. So we have the corn, the pork chops, the onions, the bacon, the potatoes, and now our cream of mushroom, and that's right on top of there for this super easy all-in-one pan dinner. I'm so excited to get this cooking. I'm gonna go ahead and put my lid on, and we're gonna pop this one on high so that we can get it ready in time. All right, you guys, it's been 4 hours on high. Now you can cook this for 8 hours on low if you wanna set it in the morning and it'll be ready for dinner time, but let's check this out. Oh my, it smells incredible. Woo. All right, it is time to dig in. Let's kind of dig into that sauce and grab a chop. Oh, that looks perfectly cooked. Let's grab some potatoes. Then you can spoon some of that gravy on there as well. And then of course, we cannot forget about the corn underneath. So let's go and grab a corn. Oh, look at that chop. And then we have our full dinner all-in-one crock pot. It is time to give this a try. Okay. Let's cut into this pork chop. Now you can sear your chop if you want to, but I don't really have a preference on that, so I just throw them in there. Oh, wow. That is tender, juicy, and delicious. Oh, let's try one of these potatoes. I think we can just go. Oh, look, they're perfectly cooked.